All right, everybody, welcome back. Okay, you want to...
Possible. Is she coming back?
There's a point. Yeah, let's just give it a second until Chandra reappears. And,
Yes, that clocked in. That's you
yeah, that's...
That clock's changed back already.
Welcome to reality.
I'm recommending, I'm waiting for legal advice, so I'm recommending that that be put to the end of the agenda.
Okay.
Because we can't deal with it right
Okay.
now.
All right, everybody, welcome back after a short but refreshing break. I've just had advice from Chandra that item 9.4 should be put on hold for a second. She's waiting for a word from the lawyer about the last motion. There was some concerns about the process there. So with everybody's forbearance, and particularly Terry, sorry, we're going to move on to... that'll be 9.5 then. That's Council of Officer and the snow removal policy.
The Town of Drayton Valley snow removal policy has undergone a review in 2014 to include a section dedicated to communications. This communications section instructs the Public Works Department how to communicate with residents during snow removal activities. The section also directs the town to continuously review alternative methods to communicate with the residents. Therefore, I move that Council approve snow removal policy number T0199.
Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? Councillor Wheeler.
In number 1 on the policy, A10 or X, depending on how you read Newman numerals, it should state from 43rd Street to from 43rd Street to, I thought it was supposed to be 43rd Avenue. Or 55th Avenue to 43rd Avenue. There we go.
You are correct. That's an oversight. It had been changed, so perhaps the right document wasn't sent forward in the subsequent revision.
Okay. Do we need to make an amendment to fix that mistake, for want of a better word? You would accept that as an amendment, Councillor Washer? All right. Okay. Any other discussion? Councillor Nadeau.
Maybe I just missed that because I was looking for the information. Could you just repeat that?
Yeah, it's just under 1A.
Mm-hmm.
Under 1A10, it should be from 55th Avenue to 43rd Avenue.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a typo, really. Any other discussion? All those in favour? And that's carried. Okay. Next up, 9.6, Councillor Nadeau, FCSS board appointments.
Thank you. Bylaw 9814 of the Town of Drayton Valley prescribes that Drayton Valley and District Family and Community Support Services Board shall consist of 7 members who shall be appointed by resolution of Town Council for a 2- or 3-year term. The membership for Marilyn Buchan, Community at Large County Representative on the FCSS Board has expired as of October 2014. The position was advertised and 2 applicants were received, that of Marilyn Buchan, who has agreed to let her name stand for the membership on the board for another 2-year term, and Botam Anastasiasis. Did I get that?
Anastasiadis.
Oh, so close.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's a win. Who has served with the youth representative on the board for the past 2 years. Additionally, Carrie Odwell has resigned from the FCSS board, leaving the Community at Large town representative position vacant. The position was advertised and 1 application was received, that of Terry Kilborn. Therefore, I move the county appoint Marilyn Buchan for the Community at Large County Representative position at the FCSS Board for a term of 2 years ending October 2016. First, I'll make them separate.
Okay, okay. Okay, any discussion there? Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. And again?
And that I move that council appoint Terry Kilborn for the Community at Large Town Representative position on the FCSS Board for a term of 2 years ending October 2016.
Okay, again, any discussion there? All those in favor? And that's carried also. Okay, next up, item 9.7, Councillor Schuler. Yeah.
Thank you, Your Worship. Hey, I think it's the first time I've said that to you. Following the passing of bylaw 2013-15F at the June 4th council meeting, it was noted that the body of the bylaw contained a clerical error. Accordingly, in order to have the local improvement bylaw approved, we will require the passing of a new bylaw to amend the contents of the original bylaw. Therefore, I move that council give first reading to bylaw 2014-19F.
Okay, any discussion there? Councillor Bossert?
I'm just wondering if any of the administration can let us know what was the error to be corrected?
Chandra, please.
As stated in the attached amending bylaw, the words that outlined the figure, the amount, were incorrect. The words originally said $217.28. They're going to be replaced with $181.61, in keeping with the amount that's indicated in the numerical format.
All right. Simple typo, really, then. Okay, any other discussion there? Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. And that was simply for first reading today, yeah? So, okay. Okay, then we are moving on to item 9.8, Councillor McClure, Fire Department sublease.
In planning the Fire Services Training Center to be built on the lands north of the airport, the province has requested that the fire department enter into a sub-lease agreement with the town. The attached agreement has been reviewed by legal counsel and is being presented today for council's approval. Therefore, I move that council approve the attached sublease agreement.
All right, any discussion there? Councillor Wheeler?
I just had a question on Schedule C, the term of sublease. It says the commence date of the term of the sublease is May 25th, 2014. Is that normal that we've already started without the, I don't know.
We do have Fire Chief Thompson here. Can you respond to that, Tom? Chandra?
I can probably better answer
No.
that because I did draft it. I mean, we had originally started this process back then. I'm sorry, the lawyer's calling me now. And it's just in keeping with the term that we have the lease from the province.
Thank you. Any other questions, Council? Any questions for Chief Thompson while he's here? Councillor McClure?
I just have a general, the airport property is owned by the province, of course, and leased to us. What is our lease period on that? Like, are we on a 99-year lease, or in general, like, what is that? Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, so,
The lease basically is an open 99-year lease for that because it's from the province, as you see it.
Okay, any other questions? Tom, is there anything you want to add to this?
Thank you, Council. If I can just add a few things to give you a bit of background on this. Way back in May of 2013, Council passed a resolution which approved this land for the Fire Training Center. And it was based on the condition that the province approved this type of a facility being put on that land. Since time, we have been in lots of discussions with the province, and they have approved the land for this use. The request that they have made is that they have a sublease, and so that is where we are at currently. In regards to the sublease, it was presented to the CAO and it was presented to the mayor, and in discussions with them, there was a couple of issues that came out. One of the issues was the fire department is part of the town. Why do we have to create a sublease for that? In further discussions with the lawyer, they had recommended that this was the best way to go about doing this, to appease the request of the province. The other area of concern was in regards to insurance. At the time that the lease went through, there was a $2 million policy on it. That has since been changed to $5 million, which now appeases the lawyers, it appeases the town's requirements, as well as the province's. So those were the main issues. Unfortunately, right now, as Chandra has identified, we started this process back in April. We can't put a shovel in the ground until this is done, and so we are still in a holding pattern waiting for this lease to be signed. So that's where we're at. We finally got it to council meeting today, so hopefully we can move forward. But that's kind of a bit of the background on where we're at with it and what we're doing.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments or questions for Tom? Or okay, then we have a motion. All those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, next up, 9.9, Councillor Wheeler, the Drinking Water Safety Plan.
Thank you. The Drinking Water Safety Plan is a living document required by Alberta Environment and Sustainable Resource Development. A drinking water safety plan is a proactive method of assessing risk to drinking water quality, which better protects public health. Plans are based on an assessment of risk factors that could potentially adversely affect drinking water quality. Assessments consider such things as the source of the water, how the drinking water is treated, how the treated water is stored and distributed. The DWSP has been completed utilizing internal knowledge of the system as well as reviewed by outside consultants. Therefore, I move that Council approve and adopt the Alberta Environment and Sustainable Resource Development Drinking Water Safety Plan.
Okay, questions, comments? Sonia, is there anything particular here we should be looking at?
Just the summary sheet of some of the mitigative risks that could show up.
All right. All right, no questions, comments. Everybody's had a look at that. Councillor Nadeau?
If you could maybe go over the summary for those that don't have, I have the package, but maybe those watching obviously don't. So if you could go over some of the summary highlights that you had mentioned, just for those watching.
Yeah.
Would you like those placed on the screen, or do you have that document, Jason? Yeah.
If not, if you could just highlight them.
Yeah.
Just for those watching, that they can have that information.
It appears as though it didn't print out as well as we had hoped. We'd had that discussion previously that there was some issues with it not printing correctly. So if you just give me one quick moment. Okay, the summary of our actions was, the one risk descriptor was source risk, which talks about possible contamination of chemicals, or through chemicals in our raw water. And that's as a result of proximity to our transportation corridor and the pipelines that do run alongside the banks, as well as the potential for vehicles to perhaps roll over on the bridge, which has happened close in recent history. Another source risk was deterioration of the raw water as a result of flooding or heavy rain. That is something that we see annually as we have turbid issues coming down the North Saskatchewan River. Contamination of treated water as a result of accumulation of deposits in a contact tank. And our new water treatment plant will eliminate these risks. Contamination of treated water as a result of vandalism. There is a security system in place with alarms and keyed access into all of our facilities. Loss of supply due to inadequate storage. This will be eliminated as well with the new plant. Low or insufficient coagulant dose, which again will be eliminated with the new plant. Unable to attend the water treatment plant. We won't have this issue with the new plant, except that we will have some pumping systems down at the bottom of that hill. And there is potential for a change in the road patterns down there in the future that would make it easier to access. Loss of supply and or deterioration of water quality as a result of a broken main. We can address an asset management program. We do regularly do repairs on our water system, but I am aware of an issue where you did have a boil water many years ago due to a main break and not being able to supply water. And finally, a failure to meet demands as a result of reservoir being undersized. Once again, we will eliminate that with the new plant. And those are the key risks that were identified.
Thank you. Any questions, Councillor? Excellent. In that case, I will call the question. All those in favour? And that is carried. Next up, item 9.10, Councillor Bossert, contract extension for Brome Drive.
The contract for the Beckett-Brome Drive water main extension and roadway construction was awarded to Border Paving on July 16, 2014. The contractor has requested an extension to complete the construction by June 30, 2015 at the same rates. Construction completion has been delayed due to weather and the availability of quality inventory. Attached is the request from the contractor and the recommendation from the engineering consultant to extend the contract. I therefore move that Council approve the request to extend the contract deadline until June 30th, 2015 for the Beckett-Brome Drive water main extension and roadway construction.
All right. Any questions, discussion? Councillor Bossert.
It does say that one of the reasons for delay was weather, and I'm thinking we had an amazing construction season this year, so why was that a factor in this road construction?
At the very beginning of September, we received that snowfall that put a delay on creating even the base of the road. And at this point, the contract with Border involves using their asphalt, and they feel that there's a higher quality from their plant, which is coming from Edmonton, and they feel that it will be too cold by the time it reaches Drayton Valley.
Okay, anything else? Chandra, you?
Just a question of clarification, because the report indicates Beckett-Brome Drive, and that then is the resolution. I see that the next item is an extension for Beckett Road contract. So does this motion need to be amended friendly-like to remove reference to Beckett?
Yes, it does, and actually that's what I thought Councillor Bossert was going to bring up, because it is the Broham It is strictly Broham. Beckett is a separate issue.
Okay, so remove Beckett.
I'll simply reread the recommendation with the amended wording. I therefore move that council approve the request to extend the contract deadline until June 30th, 2015 for the Broham Drive water main extension and roadway construction.
Any further questions? All those in favour? Opposed? That's carried. Next we have Beckett, Councillor Nano, contract extension, Beckett Road.
Thank you. The contract for Beckett Road Extension was awarded to Parkway Enterprises on April 23, 2014. The contractor has requested for an extension to complete the job by June 30, 2015 at the same rates. Construction completion has been delayed due to weather and back order of inventory. Attached is a request from the contractor and recommendation from the engineering consultant to extend the contract. Therefore, I move that council approve the request to extend the contract deadline to June 30, 2014 for the Beckett Road Extension.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? And all those in favour? And carried. And finally, here we have 9.12, Councillor Schuler, contract extension, 50th Street overlay.
Thank you. Contract for the 50th Street South Road improvements was awarded to Border Paving on July 16, 2014. Contractor requested for an extension to complete the construction by June 30th, 2015 at the same rates. Construction completion has been delayed due to weather and availability of quality inventory. Attaches a request from the contractor and recommendations from engineering consultant to extend the contract. I therefore move that council approve the request to extend the contract deadline until June 30th, 2015 for the 50th Street South Road improvements.
Deja vu. Okay. Any discussion on that motion? I see no discussion, so I'll call the question. All those in favour? And that is carried. Cast your mind back now, folks, to item 9.4. Chandra has returned with a thumbs up. Please.
The reason I was contacting our legal counsel is because typically our practice is that once a motion is defeated or voted against, it's done for the course of that meeting and doesn't come until the next council meeting for a further decision. In this case, we didn't do that. We did bring forward another motion. Legal counsel has indicated that based on the fact that we did have the options included in what council's decision could be, that there's a reasonable expectation that someone could expect that the rezoning of bylaw could have been approved. So they're reasonably comfortable that we can proceed, and because it is our practice, not necessarily a legislative practice, that we should be okay to proceed.
Well, thanks, Chandra. I appreciate your diligence there. It's good to know that we're on the right side of things. So, we're back. Item 9.4, Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. Administration has received an application for the development of a liquor store, gas bar, with convenience store and a car wash to be located at 4503 49th Street, legally described as Lot 7, Block 66, Plan 0840074. The applicant has applied to rezone the lands from R2 to C1 district. As the proposed developments are discretionary uses within the C1 district, council approval is required. Second reading for the rezoning was given on September 10th, 2014, the regular council meeting. Subject to the rezoning bylaw receiving third reading this morning, the applicant wishes to apply for the discretionary uses simultaneously. It is to be noted that the developer recently amended the site plan to eliminate a drive-through restaurant. The developer is proposing to construct a sit-down restaurant as shown in the attached plan. The sit-down restaurant is considered a permitted use under the C1 district and therefore will not be included with the discretionaries as previously proposed. Referrals were sent out to adjacent landowners within a 300-meter radius, as many concerns were raised from surrounding residents during the rezoning process. Letters were received with concerns regarding traffic, the potential of a liquor store, gas bar, and drive-through restaurant. Copies of letters received from the adjacent landowners are attached for council's review. During the rezoning process, surrounding residents also had expressed concerns regarding the discretionary uses which were presented at the September 10th regular meeting of council. I think, yeah, as of this morning, we had a lot of debate back and forth and conversations and questions, and I really feel that the plan we still have shows the drive-through. That's still the drive-through restaurant? That's the amended one. Okay, and I think because things have been going back and forth and we have been having discussions, that I still feel like we need to have further discussions to really make sure that is the set plan and to talk about the potential of the future for the rental, and make sure that we as council are satisfied with the developer's plan moving forward. And so I move that council table the development permit DV 14164 until next council meeting date.
Okay, no discussion on the table of motion? I believe that's correct. So, all those in favour? And that's carried unanimously. So we'll be back, Terry, with your forbearance one more time.
I don't know if it would be necessary. They're looking for a decision, so
Okay.
their patience is when I'm basically the new clock.
Well, we can have that discussion going forward, but in the meantime, we move on to item, information items. 10.1 RCMP policing report, 10.2 Drayton Valley Health Services Foundation annual report and financial statements, and 10.3 Star Catholic Board highlights October 2014. Any questions or comments relating thereto? Then I guess I need a motion to accept these for information. Councillor Nadeau. All those in favour? All right. Department reports. Jen Martin, Planning and Development.
I really don't have much to report at this moment. Most of my items were just, the bigger ones were discussed today, so going forward, I'm hoping that we're going to have a slower winter compared to last year, so far it's so good, being able to catch up on some things, but things are going pretty well.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Jen. No questions for Jen? Anyone? Oh. Councillor Nadeau.
I know you hope it's quieter, but for us, we like to see development permits and building and so on. So I know for you, but for us, it's a good thing. So
Nothing else? Awesome. Then next up we have Engineering and Transportation, Sonia Rigglesworth.
There's going to be a parking time change on 50th Avenue around the Clarion building, and we will see in front of the cobblestone area a 30-minute parking limit with the other parking limits removed. Broham Drive, we have extended the contract. However, just to advise where we're at, the road has been graded and they're hoping to lay down gravel this week. And Beckett Road, we're hoping to complete the roll tests so that next year we'll go straight into paving and it'll be ready to be opened up right away. And around the Frank Maddock High School, all the boulevards have been cleaned up from some previous construction work that was there, as well as repairing the walkways, and the grassy area is scheduled with replanting as well for grass seed. And we've been working on some trip hazards around town on the sidewalks and walkways to clear them off. The fall long line painting has been completed. The crosswalk stop lines and turning arrows are being touched up as long as the weather allows us. This morning there was a traffic light at 50 and 50 that was hit and was turned the wrong way, so it is being repaired at this moment. And Rotary Park, we had a discussion previously about ARC well site was going to be abandoned, decommissioned, and reclaimed. So that is going on. Currently, as of November 10th, they plan to move in rigs, and if ARC has not, at this point, they will be in contact with all affected residents as well as the public use areas. The area that will have some delays or closures will be on 52nd between 48 8th and 49th Street, I believe, yeah. And that will go on for about 1 week while they decommission that well and start the reclamation process. Our new water plant remains on target to be fully online and operational as of July 2015. And that's it for now.
All right, Councillor McClure has a question.
You're still on over there. Although I'm sure you can hear me. Actually, it's about the ARC thing. I noticed that the Western Review have an article in the newspaper this week concerning it, and I was quite surprised because we didn't know that it had moved forward. And just if we could be advised, so in case community asks questions, like just if you could get something to us that tells us what exactly that will look like, because if people read that in the newspaper and then are anticipating that there's going to be a lot of activity, just so that we have an understanding of, if you could give something to council for community concerns around it, if that's possible.
Absolutely. When it did come to light that this work would be going on this fall, we had brought it to a governance and priorities meeting, and we were just alerted as to the work that was going to start taking place. ARC is trying to work with the town and make sure that the community is aware of everything that's going on, and that was why they contacted the newspaper. It was that administration's suggestion that they contact the newspaper and have a little discussion about it.
Councillor Nadeau has a question.
Yeah, it wasn't until I read the article I knew that had been there 62 years. I had no idea that well site. 62 years I read in the paper. So I had no idea. Older than our community.
We need a historic plaque on
We
that.
do.
We have so few things.
There you go. I do have a question. You noted the time changes for parking along, so in front of like Cobblestone Cafe. Now, so it's moving to half an hour?
Yes.
Okay, because that's across the street from the, what used to be the consortium, but now does the adult learning and Northwest College. So people who are parking along that route are generally there for courses. And then people who are there at the restaurant are generally there for longer than half an hour, as they generally go there for lunch or so on. So they're usually there about an hour. What was the rationale between that, or why we had to go to that? Because it seems kind of counterintuitive to that area because it's a longer term parking. 2 hours I get, half an hour I'm a little baffled on.
We did consult all the affected businesses and residents in that area, and it was agreed that Cobblestone would have half hour in front of their area and the Clarion building, because Cobblestone did have the parking in the back, and so they felt that half an hour for people picking up their lunch and taking off would be fine just for roadside parking. The other side where the consortium is currently has 1 hour parking. There'll be no time limit there anymore, so that we will be removing the time limits through there. There'll only be 30-minute parking in that one area from around the barber shop and the Clarion building. And yes, as well as the consortium had told us that there was parking available in the back for some of their classes.
Okay, you're wildly popular this morning, Councillor Bossart.
Good morning, Sonia. Can you just, for those listening, talk about the light at Highway 22 and 50th now that I believe yesterday was fully commissioned?
Yes, last week they had, at Highway 22 and 50th Street, they had started a flashing light to alert residents or people using that corridor that there was going to be a light happening, and Alberta Transportation was monitoring, and based on how well public perceived those lights, how well they reacted to them, they were going to put them fully operational as of the 28th, and that was their decision.
And do you know if that happened yesterday? I heard it happened.
Yes, yes, it did happen yesterday.
Councillor Schuler?
Thank you. Yeah, you are wildly popular today. Just a question on the ARC Resources one. When they're reclaiming that land, that's going to have an effect on the tennis court, correct? And do we know how much of the tennis court it'll have an effect on?
There is potential for impact to the tennis court. They won't know until they do some further soil testing. And they will work with the town to replace that tennis court as we go forward if there is any disruption to it.
Any further questions for Sonia regarding engineering or anything else? No. Excellent. Next up we have Community Services, FCSS and Sustainability. Annette Dreesen.
Thank you. Morning. Just a few things to report on. The Community Sustainability Plan is going through its review. We held the community session and the community consultation process on October 16th and had a moderate number of individuals, or level number of individuals attend that workshop. Huge discussion in terms of the different priorities that were laid out for the sustainability plan. Those comments are being taken now together with all the comments that we've received in the past, either through the surveys, the staff, our stakeholders, and will now be combined so that we can start to prepare some recommendations so that we can sit with council on looking through the final sort of steps of the community sustainability plan. Now with that, we also have the social development plan review being undertaken at the same time. And we have our community consultation process happening next week, November 5th, from 6:30 to 9 at the Mackenzie Conference Center. So we are reminding everybody to please attend that session. And it is a workshop. We are asking the people who are going to be attending this workshop that be ready to be engaged in developing some of the strategies that we need to see happen within the social development plan. And we've done that strategically in terms of the social development plan having a separate part of the community sustainability plan, because there will be some more in-depth discussion and really working on moving those strategies within the social development plan forward. And as council recalls, we're certainly tying this together with the Dr. Unger presentations. We believe that our next move for our community, and we've believed that for a few years now, is that we need to work on that underlying the principles and the values that deal with resiliency, and to bring that into and make it sort of that little thread that holds the entire social development plan together. So that's going to be the focus for the November 5th workshop. So we're asking people to come with, of course, the Dr. Unger presentation in mind. Not saying that you have to have had attended the Dr. Unger presentation in order to come to the social development plan workshop, but if you do plan on coming, we can always forward some information on what was discussed at the Dr. Unger presentation. So those are two of the items being worked on right now. Several other things on the go. Just want to connect what happened at the Alberta Recreation and Parks Association conference, which was just hosted over the past weekend. And very much so, a lot of the pre-conference sessions and the sessions and the breakout sessions dealt a lot with building community, building neighborhoods, and talking about that resiliency, talking about that sustainability. So without a doubt, I mean, what we're doing here locally certainly fits into the larger scene in terms of what is currently going on and some of the new initiatives out there. So kudos to Drayton Valley. We're not behind the game. If anything, I'd still like to say kind of leading the charge. That's my report.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for Annette there? Then we move on smoothly to Information and Protective Services, Nessun Naidu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things here. I'd include some of the administration stuff too, since Mr. Dio is not here. I think the first important one is the curling club, the curling rink, I should say. I went in yesterday, had an inspection of it, and the purlines are going up, and hopefully the contractor's estimation is that by next week the roof will be closed, and then they will start work on the interior, and that shouldn't take them too long to finish. So things are moving afoot there, and we just got a call from Sylvan Lake asking us if we got our steel, because they're still awaiting their steel. So, and And the person who's in charge of the contract there is the same company, and the person looking after the project is former engineer here, David Yee.
Oh,
So it was funny, he was asking us if we got our steel, so we're ahead of the game now. We're also in talks with a few contracts that we are putting together for council to approve. We also had a discussion with the consultants about the resiliency grant, which we're moving ahead with. And then, of course, in terms of economic development, there's been some discussions on the front of economic development within the town, and we had also a discussion yesterday on a proposal that was brought forward for the biomile. So some things are moving ahead in that direction, and they're very interesting projects that we are working on with different individuals and organizations. We also had some discussions with the county about the public workshop there and the bulk water station, so Sonia is working on that one. The final one is we're also having a meeting with the county on the school resource officer next week, so that'll be coming forward. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report, but if there's any questions, I should certainly take them.
Thank you, Nelson. Any, Councillor McClure?
Nelson, could you just clarify for the community the exact dates for the photo radar, the project moving forward? Certainly it's been advertised, et cetera, but for some reason I've had a lot of questions lately that people are confused. When does this start? What's happening?
The one significant step that we're waiting to complete, and Chandra can reaffirm this, I think, is the approval from the Solicitor General's office of the documentation we sent in to have somebody here supervise the CPOs that will be conducting the photo radar. Is not that? Yeah, well, there were some changes that had to go back to the CPO. That's what Pam had told me the last time. And as soon as those documentations come back, then the next step will be the signs will be going up, and then there will be 1 month within which there will be a trial period in which the photo radar will then be in place, but not issuing fines, but just issuing warnings. So there will be a further announcement in the paper as soon as that's done.
Okay, anything else? Very good. Excellent. Then we move on to councillor reports. I'm going to drop myself to the bottom and go to Councillor Schuler.
Thank you. I have a very short report as I was on holidays for a good portion of the last little bit here. The only one that I want to touch on is the Brazeau Seniors Foundation meeting on the 24th, and just let council be aware that the construction on the, I guess the renovation on those, trying to think how many suites it was, seven suites, whatever, has commenced, and everything is moving forward nicely. They've found no anomalies so far, and hopefully in a few months they will be completed, and we'll have residents move back into that side, of which I think we're going to be in really good shape with the building as it sits, and we'll move forward from there and see what the government throws at us next.
All right, thank you. Councillor McClure.
Yes, I did want to just speak to the sustainability workshop. I wasn't there in its entirety, and so I won't say I was formally there, but got to be part of it. And I was just so impressed, even if there wasn't as many people as we had hoped for, what wonderful conversations were happening, except about that governance piece. They didn't seem all that excited about talking about it. It's the funniest thing, but anyway. The social development, and I'm not on either of these committees, but just because of my interaction. I was at the Halloween haunted house on the weekend, actually there for budget, and I did a lot of communication about that. But the social development papers that you had up, I don't know what's on them. I know there's some stuff that's not valuable, but the community engagement in participating in that was amazing. There must be lots of stuff on there. And the second thing that I wanted to bring forward is that people had talked about when you have these types, they would love to see them in public locations where they could have that ability, not on a piece of paper where they could go into the pool, where they could go anywhere, and there was just this board that they could write stuff on. And that was said more than once, and because they said they would do that. And so I just thought, because some people they're scared of commitment to certain things, but that easy access and ability to comment, I just thought we should take that as good information.
Did you want me to respond to that?
Sure you can.
Thanks for that. Yeah, just, thank you. Yes, the boards were put up, again, just simply trying to get more information, input from the residents, and we're doing it not only at the resource fair, which is disguised as the Halloween haunted house, but we're also doing it next week at the open house at Rotary House for the tenants, what the tenants are doing. So we're doing the same type of thing there as well. We're reframing the questions, and we're looking at posting them in some of the schools, so we're making that approach to the schools. We're bringing those same boards to the evening at the social development plan because, again, the comments that are on there, just nice to let people see what type of comments are on there. But yes, thank you for that.
And on the Halloween, I guess I'll mention the Halloween haunted house, or the resource fair that's masqueraded as a haunted house. I just have to send a huge shout out to the River Valley players because that was amazing, just amazing. So they need to be acknowledged for that. But people did participate in the resource fair. I watched them because I was, I had that ability to kind of watch what was going on, and people were asking questions. And because it was much better structured this year as far as processing people through, there was opportunities for them to actually do that as opposed to just being in this mob of people. So I thought it was well done. And the budget tool was discussed, and again, I want to remind everybody about the budget tool because as many people participate in that as possible. There's limited time left till November 5th. Okay. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was I had the opportunity on Friday to do the Poppy presentation from the Legion, and because the deputy mayor was unavailable at a conference or something, I can't remember. But for some of us, and there's a number of us on council that are very passionate about the acknowledgement of our troops, and in the way that we've had this very in our face in the last week. Just a reminder that Remembrance Day services are held on the 11th, and most schools hold them on the 7th as well. So if anybody's participating in that, but on the 11th, and we need to go out and I don't think we need to have the fear that might have been indicated this morning. I mean, I feel comfortable that our authorities take care of us well. And so I hope people will be out to show that support on November 11th for our prior and current people serving our country. That's my report.
All right, Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. I have been hanging out with Annette a lot, it seems like, on our sustainability workshops and planning that we've been doing, yeah, and then at the conference, which I'll be setting my report along shortly. So other than that, it's just been a busy, good month.
Councillor Bossert.
Thank you. It appears most of us have short reports. I also have a short report, although my calendar was full. As I look at it, I didn't attend many things taking care of respiratory issues at home this month. One report I do have is from our Pembina Physicians Recruitment and Retention Committee meeting, which we had just on Monday. We have a new member of our committee, which is Marty Pickett from the Primary Care Network. He's a wealth of information concerning the network that is now being established in our community. So our committee had a barrage of questions for him. Primarily, they are starting up with establishing their data bank and getting certain doctors online with the program that they are establishing. So it's looking really good. They are looking for a home, looking for about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet to call home, so that they can set up what's called the Primary Care Network. So it's looking very promising coming forward. Also, the committee is planning our Physician Appreciation Dinner for November 13th to recognize and thank the physicians that are providing care in our community, and a way of just saying thank you for all that they do in our community. So it's a fairly active committee, and we continue to do a number of different things to attract and retain the physicians in our community. We do have, apparently Dr. Beacom is back on rotation, which is awesome. And we have another lady doctor, Dr. Ami, out of the Malone Clinic, who is serving 2 days a week as well. So it helps have more physician hours in the community to have those two physicians back into the clinic. So that's good news there. And other than saying congratulations to Rotary House for their grand opening on the 8th, I think that's just a wonderful facility that we have in our community, and they are having a tenants open house here shortly, which I do hope to attend. But I just want to say kudos to Rotary House for what they are doing in the community and for the tenants that bring such important services to the community. So other than that, I think that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Nadeau.
Thank you. It is a brief report as well. I'll maybe just mention a couple of things. In terms of October 15th, I was able to attend the TELUS Innovation Night on behalf of Council and on behalf of EPAC, as well as their board member. They had their opening night that night, so they had all their volunteers at the opening night for their concert series. So I gladly represented EPAC that evening. I want to say great job TELUS and their donation to the Community Foundation for a CT4DV and their initiative. And to note that EPAC is one of 11, I believe, 11 not-for-profit organizations that are on that. So when they do bring out and roll out their optic and have an opportunity, you have a choice to pick EPAC along as 10 other wonderful not-for-profits, and they will make a donation to those. So it's a great initiative. It's wonderful for EPAC to get that additional spotlight as well. And had also an EPAC evening as well, board meeting, and they're well underway with their concert series. There's still tickets left available, but very few, so if you want to get in on some of the amazing shows and concert series they put on this year, definitely. Tickets are always available through Valley Drug Mart as well, and you can contact EPAC members. And I want to give a shout out to River Valley players as well, because I heard what a great night, or a great afternoon that was, and to say that starting November, and tickets went on sale yesterday for their Sound of Music. So please go to Valley Drug Mart for those as well, and that'll be a great I believe it's 6 evenings that they're holding it at EPAC as well. So yeah, wonderful, wonderful thing that's happening in the community. So definitely support your local arts and culture and attend, and that is my report.
Thank you, which brings us to me, finally, at last. Subsequent to the last council meeting, on October 9th, I had the pleasure, and it was a pleasure, of emceeing the first ever Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. I am not Drayton Valley's most spiritual person by some way, but there was a really positive feeling in the room, and it was a nice way to start the day, I thought, and I look forward to the next one when I will not be emceeing, so I assume. The day after that, Friday the 10th, I toured the water treatment plant along with several other councillors. Nice to get a chance to see how that works. I'd never actually been down there inside the building, I'd been outside. So see how that works and see what will be better in the new one. On the 14th Library Board meeting, I am back on the Library Board, I'm happy to say, and we now have filled 2 of the vacant seats that we had with 2 very capable members of the public, so things looking positive there, and it's going to be a good board and a fun board, I think. I also attended the following day the TELUS Innovation Evening and was as impressed as Councillor Nadeau indicated. It's amazing some of the things they can do, and great to have them in our community. The day after that, I had the Mayor's Advisory Committee, which an interesting evening. Many of you will have attended these in the past. They're a chance to get feedback from the community, and I don't think anything spectacular happened, but it's an interesting group. So following that, where am I? FCSS on Friday, my last FCSS meeting. Councillor Nadeau will be taking over that, moving into the thing, but nice to attend one in Rotary House after what seems like a long, was it 5 years, 4 years since it was first suggested. It was great to be in there and actually use it for a meeting, so that was very positive. On the 20th, I did the flag raising and the proclamation for Foster Families Week, which I've attended in the past from the newspaper, and it was a little interesting being on the other side of the camera, but all good. And then for the rest of the week, I went to Banff and in place of Mayor McLean to the Bioconversions Network conference. This is a group that operates, I think it's fair to say, out of the University of Alberta primarily. And brings together a lot of sort of interested parties in the bio industry, and much of it's very, very high-level science, which again is not really my bag. But there was an excellent opportunity to meet some people and to renew some acquaintances from actually last attended this 5 years ago. And on a very positive note, there's still a great degree of enthusiasm amongst the people who are best qualified to know that everything that we've talked about in this room for the last 7-8 years regarding the biomile continues to be valid. The science is there, and it's coming. It's the best way of putting it, or still appears to be on the way. Then, I think finally on Saturday, at Children's Wish Foundation walk, I didn't walk. Which I should have done because I do walk. So next year I will be walking, but this year I just said a few words again in the place of the mayor. They do a 5K and a 10K next year. If the school division will school board will undertake to walk the 5K, I will undertake to walk the 10K. So there's a challenge there. Yes, and that. Apart from my first ever meeting of the pool committee, the aquatic centre committee last night, concludes my report. So with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Please, Councillor Schuler. All those in favour? We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.